Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the workshop. Fantastic to have you here. We're going to be making a halberd in today's episode. Two things to note. One, we have some awesome new merchandise, like these cool tees. Look at that long sleeve one. And two, we would like to quickly thank today's sponsor. Before we jump into the video, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, which is Skillshare, the online learning community with over 25,000 video courses where you can learn everything from business to photography to marketing. Check them out. You're going to be getting 2 free months of Skillshare Premium at my link in the description. Thank you, Skillshare, for sponsoring the video. Let's make a halberd. Okay, so this is a halberd. It doesn't mean a whole lot on a piece of paper though, so I'm going to draw out a very rough drawing on the whiteboard so that I can get an idea of scale, so that you can get an idea of scale, and so that we can put the right piece of material in the fire to actually make it. Quarter. This is a hell of a forging project. There's a lot of material that needs to be moved because this is a ton of steel. Just a ton of steel. I got some ideas on how we can do it.
You know what might be a good thing would be to heat up steel and hit it with a hammer.
I was actually going to start off with thinking. 4140, this would be just grand. Got another piece of 4140 over there. So we've got a ton of material options. We could work with mild steel and weld in high carbon cutting edges like you've seen us do in some recent videos. But we also have some pieces of 4140 steel here. And this chunk here, 2.5 inches round, looks like it should be enough material for us. I'm a little nervous though that we can't get this width out of it. So I'd like to upset it, but to upset it I'd have to cut the ends off, which means that basically we're in a pickle, because I'm gonna have to do something I don't want to do, which is just put this in the fire, start flattening it down, and see and hope that we can pull this width on either side out of this round piece of steel. It doesn't make sense, but we're gonna give it a go. That is an 11-pound piece of steel. Let's do it. Okay, so we had that big old ugly piece of steel. What we've gone ahead and done is we have squished it down in the process, forming some cold shuts or little cracked areas. I ground those out, which means that we now have a good block of steel ready to start isolating off material for the halberd. This right here is gonna be that top spike on the halberd. We've got to isolate it down, and it's actually really helpful to do it now because I am struggling to hold on to this monstrous piece of steel. But by having broken it down and left it like this, holding on to it with a pair of tongs is now 10 times easier. So we're now going to isolate the material for the tang area, the bit that's connecting to our wooden handle. So what I'm going to do this heat is I'm going to establish a taper from thick here to thinner up top. So now what we're doing is we're drawing out either side of the halberd blade. That is not easy. This thing is wanting to just jump all over the place. I am hoping we have enough material, but we'll find out.
this halberd is not half bad.
That's not entirely the whole truth. I actually think the halberd is half bad, but I wanted to be able to say the joke. The trouble that I'm having is just manipulating the material where it needs to go. It's very difficult. Those two wings that we've got to throw on there require a lot of material, a lot more material than I have isolated. So we are in a pickle. And this is just the thing about forging. Unlike being able to kind of cut stuff out of a piece of sheet or something like that, or, you know, remove material to make a shape, we have to move it around. And so when you're inexperienced, when you're out of practice, it's very easy to make this kind of mistake because my brain just isn't working great at isolating this material where it needs to be.
This here wants to be a good bit wider, and it's not getting that way very fast. It also wants to be a good bit longer.
I'm tweaking and tweaking and tweaking, and I don't know if this is gonna be our final halberd. We might have to go ahead and start again and go about this a different way. Or we might adjust the design and make it a slightly more compact halberd. That's also a good way that we can approach this. I need to put more time into it. It's the end of our day here.
The light outside is just glorious as that sun is starting to set.
And so with that, we're gonna circle back to you in the morning. And good morning, it's great to see you again. And now, of course, we're just continuing on with the video.
I've had a night to sleep on this and think about it.
I did not actually sleep on it. That would have been uncomfortable.
And you know, I think it's still worth a little bit of tweaking and a little bit more work to see if we could make a scaled down halberd from what we have here.
We're gonna have to start again.
It looks like garbage.
This is failure time right here.
I think that I've about gone to the point of not being able to make a usable halberd from this piece of steel.
I know the process that I was trying to use was not good enough. The amount of material that I chose to use was not good enough. So we got ourselves a good pickle. That's a good way to do it.
Instead of trying to forge this whole thing out of one monstrous piece of steel, I'm just gonna make it out of two pieces of steel, have a slot in here, and slip that in, rivet it together.
This makes a ton of sense. You know, I'd considered the thought of forge welding a piece in. We could just rivet it in. Flush rivets, it's gonna look nice and neat. It's gonna be a way more efficient use of material and time.
And at the end of it, it might well still look pretty one-piece-y.
Now I need not one piece of steel, but two pieces of steel. I need the forge hot again. And we are back at it. This hole turned out really ugly, so I just had to make up a drift so that we can drive it in and fix this ugly mess. There we go. That's looking awesome! Alrighty, check it out. We've got ourselves a hole opened up. Looking pretty cool. I'm happy with that. Next step is for us to forge the taper of the point and for us to then flip it around and start working on our tang area. we've got ourselves a beak forged out, a little pointy bit right at the tip. We have a hole. We just need to find our solution for how this is going to mount to a handle. Oh boy, no, no. Looking closer at the photo, I just worked out how these things were made. This is not gonna be easy. This strapping that connects it to the handle is individually welded onto here. This strapping is stuck on to the material of the pole arm with a forge weld, and then the strapping comes out. That's tremendously difficult. Oh boy. Okay, so this area here, this is where it connects to the wood, and I thought it was just strapping on the side. It's not. If we were to cut this here, we would have a square wooden handle. There is then steel on all four sides of the wooden handle with rivets going the entire way through. That means that there is strapping like this on all four sides of the handle, which means that it needs to be welded all the way around, which is gonna be really difficult. So I've spent some time laying this out on a piece of paper and thinking about it. I've worked out the plan, I've worked out the measurements of the steel that I need. We are going to be making 4 pieces of steel that are gonna be cladding all 4 sides of our halberd kind of shafty area. I'm gonna forge weld them on, hopefully not screw anything up, but to do all of this I have to begin by making my own material because we don't have 1 5/8" wide flat bar. We have a very limited amount of steel in the steel rack, so good lesson, I should buy some more steel, but in the meantime, we can make our own. Here we go! Okie dokie. This is a little 1 5/8" flat stock that I can begin working from. But alas, as I have a puppy to take care of, to exercise and get exposed to the world. That's gonna be it for a day. Hope you guys have enjoyed coming along this beautiful, magnificent education and failure and fun of working on this halberd. It is just brilliant to be able to bring you along this whole process, regardless of whether we have a win or whether we have a failure. As we end this video though, let's thank today's sponsor, Skillshare. Today's video sponsor has been Skillshare, the online learning community with over 25,000 video courses and 7 million creatives using it. You can learn a whole bunch of stuff with Skillshare, and what has been especially important for us lately, as we have just brought on a phenomenal photographer, Callan, is how we can learn to make the best photos possible for our Instagrams. We have the Alec Steele Instagram and the new Alec Steele Co Instagram, and producing the best visual content possible there is extremely important. So if you want to up your photography game, check out this course on Skillshare, Instagram Worthy Photography by Brandon Wuerfel. You can get yourself 2 months of Skillshare's Premium, which is usually just $10 a month for free by hitting our link in the description below. You'll be able to browse all the courses you want to your heart's content, and your support of Skillshare supports us. Thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring the video. Thank you guys for coming along. I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.